We're late. Good morning, everyone. We'll call the meeting of the License and Variance Board to order. I'm Richard Garland, Director of Parks and Recreation, and currently serving as the Interim Assistant City Administrator. To my left is Bo Jones, Director of Water and Utilities. And to his left is Andrea Worthy, Director of Economic Development. We make up the License and Variance Board for the City of Smyrna. Welcome to the January 10th meeting. We will get started with formal business. Item A, LIC 2023-014 Privilege License Agent Change Request, Beer, Wine, and Liquor. Retail package at 2230 South Cobb Drive Southeast. Rosa Wine LLC, doing business as Leroy's Liquor with Camilla Chu. Hopefully we got close. Good. Awesome. Bailey as agent. Ms. Crow, you have background with that? Just step forward. Thank you. Yep. This one is a little bit clunky because we don't do these that often. So if you'll step forward.
Yes.
Give me just a second to catch up with you.
All right.
All right. If you would, state your name for the record, please.
Kumlacho under Gibalay.
Okay. And can you tell us about your position with Rosa Wines doing business as Leroy's Liquor?
I'm going to be officer and owner.
Officer and owner?
Uh,
Okay. All right. How long have you owned the store? When
no,
did you take?
I'm going to be the new agent.
New agent?
Yes, the
Okay.
old one, Rose Wine LLC, but this one is the new one, Rosa Wine LLC. So I'm the new agent for the new business.
Okay. Have you been the agent for a liquor store in the past?
No,
This is your first time?
for liquor store, but I had experience in gas station.
Okay.
And other
All right.
things.
Can you, how many employees do you have?
Right now we got 3.
And can you explain how you guys train those employees to understand the alcohol sales, to properly
Well,
do that?
The employees right now in the place, I'm going to take them over as it is, and we're going to give them training according to some references I got from the workshop I took 2 months ago. We got some training references to give training for employees to check ID, proper identification, and to see anything on the ground, to check the inventories, all those stuffs.
And can you walk us through that process? What system do you guys plan on using to do that?
We got are we talking about the training or the systems on the register? We got ID identification interest key.
Okay.
Then they can see the customer's identification, and they can enter it, and it can validate whether that person is 21 or not.
So is that integrated into your POS, or is it's?
Yes.
Okay, okay. And we have completed the background check and no instances to be concerned with, is that correct? Okay, all right. From our standpoint, when we're doing these privilege license agent change, we remind each of the agents that it is a function of the Smyrna Police Department to routinely carry out operations to ensure that the businesses within our community that are selling beer and wine and liquor are doing it correctly. So those sting operations happen throughout the course of the year and can happen at any time throughout the course of the year. So it is something that the city of Smyrna takes seriously, and we just want to convey that to those agents when they begin this work. Does anyone have any other questions for the applicant? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve licensed 2023-014 privilege license agent change request for beer, wine, and liquor retail package at 2230 South Cobb Drive, Rosa Wine LLC, doing business as Leroy's Liquors, with Kulamanchu Belay as agent.
Thank
Have a
you.
motion.
Second motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by raising your right hand. Motion passes. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
Item B is also a privileged license agent change, LIC 2024-001, beer and wine retail package at 677 Concord Road. Asit Business Incorporated, doing business as One Stop 616, with Dharmik Patel as agent. Is Dharmik present? If you'll step forward to the mic, please, sir. Go through the same thing, if you would. State your name for the record.
Yes, sir.
State your name for the record.
Dharmik Patel.
Okay. Can you tell us about your position with One Stop 616?
Yeah, I'm the manager and doing the daily activities, all stuff, and ordering and stuff.
Okay. How long have you been the manager?
It's been 3 years.
3 years?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you're just now becoming the agent for, okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. How do you go about verifying the age when you have a customer that's wanting to purchase beer
Yeah,
and
we
wine?
have the new POS, like it's called the Gil Barco passport, and we can scan the ID, and it'll let you know if it's old enough or not, and we also check manually.
Okay. How many employees do you have?
2.
2. And what training do you give them to ensure that they're following that system correctly?
Yeah, before we hire them, we make sure to tell them, make sure they don't sell to anybody under 21, and show them to POS how to check the ID and stuff.
Do you all have any ongoing training that you do with employees to ensure that everyone is doing this correctly, or how do you ensure that that's happening?
Yeah, we just finished, I just had that training, RSS training or something, and I got the certificate. So same way I tell them to do it this way.
Okay, all right. And the background's been complete, and we have the certificate that the required training has taken place. Okay. I'll tell you, as I told the previous gentleman, Smyrna takes this seriously.
Yes.
This is a privilege that we extend to you as a business owner, and the police department is charged with routinely doing operations to ensure that these businesses are operating properly and legally, and that we're not selling alcohol on a routine basis to underage kids or doing it as a practice. So they will probably be around now that there's been a license change that'll trigger this for them. So just be prepared for that. Any questions for the applicant? All right, we'll entertain a motion at this point.
Motion to approve license 2024-001, privilege license agent change request for beer and wine, a retail package at 677 Concord Road, Assist Business Inc., doing business as One Stop 616, with Dharmik Patel as agent.
Second motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
sir.
Item C is V23-085. This is a public hearing variance request for allow encroachment into the 75-foot impervious surface area setback, land lot 696 at 1921 Sadler Drive. Edward Karam applicant. Is Mr. Karam present?
Wayne Dolnick, property owner.
Okay, all right. Ms. Crow, could you give us the background, please?
Yes, good morning, Caitlin Crow, Planner 1, Community Development. So this variance is V23-085 to allow the encroachment into the 75-foot impervious surface area setback. So a little bit of background on this variance. It actually came in front of you last year in December 2022, but was denied at the time with that plan. Since then, they have revised the plan to offer some mitigation, as well as to have a smaller pool surface area to address the previous city engineer's mitigation concerns. So now that it's back in front of you, this parcel does have a stream that runs through the back of the property, as well as a drainage easement just north of the existing deck on the home. So due to the stream, most of the backyard is encumbered by the 25-foot state buffer and the 50 and 75-foot city buffers. So the applicant has designed the pool to stay as far out of the buffers as possible. It's out of the 50-foot completely and encroaches into the 75-foot by a little bit over 300 square feet. So no other variances are required of this, and they're going to be well beneath the 45% impervious surface area for the whole site. The applicant is proposing to mitigate this 318 square foot encroachment with some pervious pavers on the property, and they're also going to be extending the impervious setback via a replanning process. That will be one of the stipulations I mentioned. Due to the existing stream buffers and that drainage easement, community development feels that this is the minimum variance required in order to offer any type of outdoor amenity on this property. After reviewing the variance application, staff does support the variance and recommends approval with the following 3 conditions. The first is our standard of approval is conditioned upon substantial compliance with the site plan and mitigation plans included with the variance application. Number 2, a stormwater inspection and maintenance agreement must be completed and recorded with the Cobb County Superior Court, and an as-built certification statement submitted to community development prior to completion of the pool permit. And number 3, a plat shall be submitted to the city for approval and recorded with the Cobb County Superior Court to show the extension of the impervious surface area setback prior to completion of the pool permit. And with that, myself or Mark Wolf, our city engineer, are here if you have any questions.
Mark, are you satisfied with the mitigation plan that's been presented?
Mark Wolf, city engineer. Yes, I've reviewed the plan, worked with the applicant, and it is acceptable.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. If you would step to the microphone, state your name for the record, please, sir.
Sure. Wayne Melnick and I own the property at 1921 Sadler Drive before the commission.
All right. Is there anything that you would like to add to what Ms. Crow has brought to us?
I don't want to add anything, except I do want to state on the record my appreciation to Ms. Crow and Mr. Wolf for working with me. They've been absolutely fantastic over this part of the process.
Our understanding is this has been a little bit of a journey to get to this point.
I will accept the euphemism of a bit of a journey.
All right. Is there any questions for the applicant?
Yeah, I just wonder how big the pool is. That's it. Simple question.
Smaller than it was on the original
I
application.
got that. I got that. That was it. Just off the record.
Okay. And Ms. Crow did read 3 stipulations. You understand those stipulations and are going to adhere to those?
I do, and I agree to.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you very much, sir. This is a public hearing. If anyone wishes to speak in favor or against this item, please come forward to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, we will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve variance request V23-085, allow encroachment into the 75-foot impervious surface area setback, land lot 696, located at 1921 Sadler Drive. Edward Kareem as applicant.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion passes unanimously. Item D, V23-096, public hearing variance request V23-096. Reduce the northern side setback from 12 feet to 6.6 feet on land lot 556 at 3405 Pretty Branch Drive. Edwin McGee applicant. Is Mr. McGee present? Ms. Crow, would you continue with the background, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, Caitlin Crow, Planner 1 Community Development. So this subject parcel is a 0.74 acre lot on the east side of Pretty Branch Drive, near the termination of Pretty Branch. The subject property is currently occupied by a little over a 2,300 square foot ranch home that's pushed way to the rear of the lot and is accessed via a long and sloping driveway. The existing home was built back in 1955, which was prior to our current zoning ordinance, which was adopted in 1984. There is an existing non-conforming northern side setback on the property of 6.6 feet, which is due to the existing carport that the applicant is looking to enclose as part of this application. So the applicant is looking to enclose the carport and then add an addition on the back. Because of the angle of the carport, they are going to extend it back for a utility closet and then pivot in to try and keep as much of the setback in place as possible. So included in this addition will be that utility room, a family room, as well as an additional bedroom and bathroom for the property. The existing non-conforming foundation and driveway of the home makes sense to keep it in the same location, especially since that enclosure of the carport will be for a standard 2-car garage. So any additional disturbance would create issues for both this property and the foundation, as well as the surrounding neighbors. Since the proposed addition will pivot in, there is no issues with building separation, because as you might remember, you did approve a variance for setback reduction just north on the property at 3393 Pretty Branch Drive back in November of last year. So due to the size of the lot and the location of the existing non-conforming setback, community development believes that the proposal will not negatively impact the surrounding properties, nor will be readily visible to the public. So after reviewing the variance application, staff does support the request and recommends approval with the following 2 conditions. The first, of course, is our standard condition. Approval of the requested variance shall be conditioned upon substantial compliance with the site plan and elevations submitted with the variance application. Number 2, gutters and downspouts will be installed to divert stormwater away from the adjacent properties. And with that, I can answer any questions.
Any questions for Ms. Crowe?
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McGee, if you would come forward now, please, sir. And if you would, just state your name for the record.
Edwin McGee.
Thank you for being here this morning. Do you have anything you'd like to add to what Ms. Crowe submitted?
Thank her for her help.
She is very helpful, that's for sure.
Yes, she is.
Do we have any questions for Mr. McGee? All right. There were 2 conditions that Ms. Crowe read. We just want to make sure that you understand those conditions and that you will be adhering to those.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Excellent. And it was just 2, right? I got that? Yes. Okay. All right. Okay. If we don't have any questions for you, this is a public hearing. Feel free to have a seat. This is a public hearing. If anyone wishes to speak in favor or against this item, please come to the podium at this time. State your name and address for the record. Seeing none, we'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve variance request V23-096, reduce the northern side setback from 12 feet to 6.6 feet. Land lot 556 located at 3405 Pretty Branch Drive, Edwin McGee as applicant.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes. Item E, V23-097. Thank you very much, Mr. McGee. The variance request to allow new construction on lot of record below minimum requirements on land lot 664 at 2608 Argo Drive. Nichelle Bell, applicant. Is Ms. Bell present? Thank you very much. Ms. Crowe, the background on this item, please.
All right, again, Caitlin Crowe, Planner 1, Community Development. So this variance is V23-097 to allow for new construction on the lot of record below minimum requirements. So this subject parcel is a 0.27 acre lot located on the west side of Argo Drive. The subject parcel is a home site which was first recorded in Cobb County back in 1955, which, just as the previous variance, was implemented before our current zoning ordinance from 1974. The subject property is only 11,579 square feet, which is below the required minimum for our 15 zoning lots of 15,000 square feet. Since the subject property is an existing lot of record, again, it was platted back, or excuse me, in a deed book back in 1955, the hardship is not self-created. If there were no non-conforming lot size on this property, no additional variances would be required to build this home. The applicant is proposing to demolish the existing structure and will build a roughly 2,500 square foot home, which will have a modern type of architecture with a facade mostly of siding and a brick water table. The variance requested is the minimum variance needed to build a new home on the property. So thus, after review of the application, staff does support the request and recommends approval with the standard stipulation. Approval of the variance application will be, Approval of the requested variance shall be conditioned upon the development of the property in substantial compliance with the site plan and elevations submitted with the variance application.
Well
I can
done.
answer any questions.
Any questions?
All right.
Thank you. Ms. Bell, if you'll step forward now, please. You can bring your bodyguard with you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Michelle Bell. I reside at 126 Belmont Drive, Atlanta, Georgia, 30311. I'm here with the property owner, and we appreciate Caitlin, her professional demeanor and answering all of our questions, and meeting with us and with the surveyor to work through any issues that we had.
Excellent, excellent. Well, the big question for us is that you understand the conditions that have been placed on the variance application. Should it be approved, that you'll, the stipulation that you'll complete the project as
Yes,
proposed?
we
Okay,
understand
excellent, excellent. Any questions from the board? All right. Thank you very much. This is a public hearing, so if there's anyone present who would like to speak in favor or against this item, please come forward to the podium and state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, we'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve V 24-97, a variance request to allow new construction on a lot of record below minimum requirements, land lot 664 at 2608 Argo Drive, Nichelle Bell, applicant.
Second motion?
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion passes. Congratulations. Item F is going to be tied to the next 7 items. Greg Jones, hopefully you're here. Okay. Item F is a public hearing for a variance request V 23-023098, reduce eastern side setback from 35 feet to 32.7 feet on land lot 775 at 1324 Coy Court. Greg Jones applicant. As I said, there are 7 of these that are very similar. Ms. Crow will read the background that will encompass all 7, but we will have to take them one item at a time. Ms. Crow.
Yes, thank you for that. Yes, so Caitlin Crow, Planner 1 Community Development. So these are variances V23-098 through 104, which are all the exact same variance to reduce the eastern side setback from 35 feet to 32.7 feet. So the subject parcels are all located within the new subdivision there at Spring and Campbell Road, known as Rowan Walk. And this is going to be on the east side of Koa Court, which is kind of awkwardly at the intersections of Koa Court, Rawlings Chase, Mountain Ash Lane, and Wickerwood Place. So as you saw in the site plan, there are quite a few road frontages there. The applicant has applied for the eastern side setback reductions on 7 of those units, which is lots 96 through 102, with the addresses of 1348 through 1324 Koa Court. These are 2 different townhome buildings. So in order to keep a consistent product throughout the neighborhood with a 10-by-10 deck in the rear, they needed this setback reduction just because of the length of the townhomes and where they're positioned on the property. This is a reduction of 2.3 feet to be able to do that, and the townhomes are already as close to the 48-foot utility easement as they can get in the front while maintaining the required driveway length per the original zoning stipulations. So without compromising the length of the townhomes, as well as, again, to keep that standard product that's throughout the townhome of the 10-by-10 deck, they did request this setback reduction. Community Development believes that this setback reduction will not impact the surrounding residents, and the nearest structure to this is actually over 250 feet away over at the Argyle Elementary School in the rear. Because this is part of the internal townhomes of this subdivision, this is also not going to be visible to the public. After reviewing the variance application for each of these 7 requests, staff does support each request and recommends approval with the standard condition. Approval of the requested variances shall be conditioned upon development of the property in substantial compliance with the site plan and elevations submitted with the variance application. And as usual, I can answer any questions.
Any questions for Ms. Crowe? Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Jones, would you please step forward? If you'll state your name and address, name for the record.
Yes, my name is Greg Jones. I'm the owner of Complete Permitting and the applicant.
Anything you'd like to add to what Ms. Crowe said?
No, we actually have, we submitted and got the previous, one of the buildings already fully permitted with a smaller deck, so we could start the process, working with staff. And then obviously 7.5 feet is not enough room to place a table outside and be consistent. So we appreciate the working with Caitlin and the staff and ask your approval.
All right. You understand the conditions that have been stated with this variance request? And you
Absolutely.
Agree to compliance? Any questions for the applicant? Okay. If you're welcome to stay close, we're going to dance through all of these. This is a public hearing. If anyone wishes to speak in favor or against this item, please come forward to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, we'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve variance request V 23-098 to reduce the eastern side setback from 35 feet to 32.7 feet, land lot 775, located at 1324 Coa Court. Greg Jones is applicant.
Second motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion carries. Item G is variance request V 23-099, reduce the eastern side setback from 35 feet to 32.7 feet on land lot 775 at 1328 Coy Court. Greg Jones, applicant. Ms. Crowe, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Not at this time.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Crowe? All right. Mr. Jones, anything you'd like to add?
No, sir.
Any questions for Mr. Jones?
No.
This is a public hearing. If there's anyone who'd like to speak in favor or against this request, please come to the podium, state your name and address at this time. Seeing none, we'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve variance request V 23-099, reduce the eastern side setback from 35 feet again to 32.7 feet, land lot 775, located at 1328 Coa Court. Greg Jones is applicant.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Raise your right hand to approve. Motion carries. Item H, V 23-0100, variance request, reduce eastern side setback from 35 feet to 32.7 feet on land lot 775 at 1332 Coy Court. Greg Jones, applicant. Ms. Crowe, do you have anything you'd like to add to this?
Not at this time.
Any questions for Ms. Crowe?
No, sir.
Mr. Jones, anything you'd like to add? Any questions for Mr. Jones?
No, sir.
This is a public hearing. If there's anyone here who'd like to speak for or against this variance request, please come to the podium, state your name and address at this time. Seeing none, we'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve variance request V 23-100, reduce the eastern side setback from 35 feet to 32.7 feet, land lot 775, located at 1332 Coa Court. Greg Jones is the applicant.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. Item I, V 23-0101, variance request to reduce the eastern side setback from 35 feet to 32.7 feet on land lot 775 at 1336 Coy Court. Greg Jones, applicant. Ms. Crowe, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I do not.
Any questions for Ms. Crowe?
No, sir.
Mr. Jones? Any questions or anything you'd like to add? All right, any questions for Mr. Jones?
No, sir.
Okay, this is a public hearing. If anyone wishes to speak in favor or against the item, please come forward to the podium, state your name and address at this time. Seeing none, we'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve variance request V 23-101, reduce the eastern side setback from 35 feet again to 32.7 feet, land lot 775, located at 1336 Coa Court. Mr. Greg Jones is applicant.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion carries. Item J, V23-0102 is a variance request to reduce the eastern side setback from 35 feet to 32.7 feet. Land lot 775 at 1340 Coy Court. Greg Jones, applicant. Ms. Crowe,
I do not have anything further.
any questions for Ms. Crowe?
No.
Mr. Jones, anything you'd like to add?
No, sir.
Any questions for Mr. Jones?
No.
This is a public hearing. If there's anyone here who'd like to speak in favor or against this variance request, please do so at this time by coming to the podium, stating your name and address. Seeing none, we'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve variance request V23-102, reduce eastern side setback from 35 feet to 32.7 feet. Land lot 775, located at 1340 Coa Court. Greg Jones is applicant.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. Item K, V23-0103 is a variance request to reduce the eastern side setback from 35 feet to 32.7 feet on land lot 775 at 1344 Coy Court. Greg Jones, applicant. Ms. Crowe, do you have anything you'd like to add to this?
No, I do not.
Any questions for Ms. Crowe?
No.
Mr. Jones, anything you'd like to add?
No, sir.
Any questions for Mr. Jones?
No.
This is a public hearing. If anyone here would like to speak in favor or against this variance request, please do so at this time by coming to the podium and stating your name and address. Seeing none, we'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve variance request V23-103, reduce eastern side setback from 35 feet to 32.7 feet. Land lot 775, location 1344 Coa Court. Mr. Jones is applicant.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. Item L, V23-0104 is a variance request for reducing the eastern side setback from 35 feet to 32.7 feet. Land lot 775 at 1348 Coy Court. Greg Jones, applicant. Ms. Crowe, anything we'd like to add?
No.
Any questions for Ms. Crowe?
No.
Mr. Jones, anything you'd like to add?
No, sir.
Any questions for Mr. Jones?
No.
This is a public hearing. If there's anyone who'd like to speak in favor or against this variance request, please do so at this time by coming forward to the podium. Seeing none, we'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve variance request V23-104, reduce eastern side setback from 35 feet to 32.7 feet. Again, land lot 775, location 1348 Coa Court. Mr. Jones is applicant.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. Thank you, sir. All right. Item M, let's do something different. V23-0104 is a variance request. No, that's not right. V23-0105 is a variance request to allow a 6-foot wooden fence in the front yard on a corner lot of land lot 624 at 1741 Point Pleasant. Yasmin Yosef, applicant. Is the applicant present? Okay. Ms. Crowe, would you give us a background on this, please?
Yes. So, Caitlin Crowe, Planner 1 Community Development. So, as you mentioned, this variance is V23-105 to allow for that 6-foot wooden fence in the front yard on a corner lot. So this subject parcel is a 0.35 acre lot located on the northeastern corner of the intersection of Ridgehurst Drive and Point Pleasant. The subject property is located directly off of Ridgehurst Drive, which is the main road through the Vinings Glen subdivision. The applicant is looking to fully enclose the rear yard with a 6-foot wooden fence, which is currently fenced in on the northern and eastern side of the property, and is going to now be replaced. The proposed fence will be located behind the existing trees and shrubs that are currently planted along Ridgehurst Drive, so there should be minimal visible impact. Due to the property road frontage having 2 sides being a corner lot, per the fence ordinance, both sides are considered the front yard, which would allow for a maximum of a 4-foot high fence. This often does not allow for any privacy or security on corner lots, and especially with Ridgehurst Drive being such a busy area, the applicant is looking to put that safety in place. The applicant is requesting the variance to be about 12 feet off of the back of the curb, which again will provide that privacy and security from the busy roadway. The assistant city engineer has gone out to the property and verified that there are going to be no site distance issues based off of the fence location. So after reviewing the variance application, staff does support the request and recommends approval with the standard stipulation. Approval of the requested variance shall be conditioned upon substantial compliance with the site plan submitted with the variance application. And I can answer any questions.
Any questions for Ms. Crowe?
I do. So
Yes.
the variance is for the height of the fence, not the setback of the fence.
Correct, yeah, so it's just the height. If they did not want to proceed with a variance, they could do a maximum of 4 foot high, but the location is not in question.
Thank you.
All right, thank
Any
you.
other questions? Thank you, Ms. Crum. Ms. Youssef, would you come to the microphone, please? If you would state your name and address for the record.
Yes, good morning. My name's Yasmin Youssef, and I am at 1741 Point Pleasant.
Is there anything that you'd like to add to what Ms. Crowe has submitted?
No, she's a lifesaver.
All right. Yeah, is there any questions for Ms. Youssef? Thank you very much. I do need to ask you, you understand that there are a couple of conditions along with being able to build this fence that Ms. Crowe mentioned, maybe just one on this one. And you understand those and are going to be in compliance with that?
I understand and I agree.
Okay,
Thank
thank you very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is a public hearing. If anyone wishes to speak in favor or against this item, please come forward to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
Hi, good morning. Ms. Crowe, nice to meet you personally. I'm Paul Shumway. I own 4040 Ridgehurst Drive and reside there, which is directly across the street from the subject property. And I appreciate the opportunity to provide a little bit of context around how this is going, how I believe this is going to impact me. So just for context, I purchased the home during COVID, during 2020, and have invested very substantially in the property with the intent that this would be a lifetime, rest of our life home. And the reason we chose Smyrna is because of a lot of the great work that you all do. I became concerned because the view of the front, my property is slightly elevated over the street, which is slightly elevated over the subject property, but my purview is that property and the street that it sits on. That's what I look at. And my concern was what is this gonna look like when it's done, and what's it gonna look like in 5 years and 20 years? So I've asked Caitlin for a list of all the, where this variance has been approved before, and I've looked at the conditions of the fences that are this close to the street where the variances have been approved, and I would just say is highly unappealing. And the concern I have, I would respectfully disagree that there will be minimal visible impact. If you look at the application itself, it has a picture of my house, which looks directly on the property, and there was reference to being behind trees and shrubs. So the trees that exist, I believe, I'm not a arborist, I believe are pear trees. So the trunks of the trees are well below the branches. So there's really no softening of the fence that will take place as a result of those trees. The only other vegetation along a very small portion of what will be what is the proposed fence line are, I don't know if they're arborvitae, but kind of an arborvitae looking tall, thin evergreen. And I believe there are 4 of those that were recently planted, if I'm going from recollection, within the last year. So the concern I have is I'm in the middle of substantial property improvements. I brought with me I've got very, very comprehensive plans all developed well before this became an issue to improve the property, in terms of landscaping, hardscaping. Before a new plant gets planted, it's $75,000 worth of work. So my concern is not only for my personal enjoyment of our view, what we bought into, but also the view, little bit longer term around property value, and do I really want to be spending what will be close to $100,000 by the time I'm done on landscaping this property, if that's going to be my view. So the other part that I don't fully understand is there's reference to the backyard, but if you look at the house, it's kind of the Bridgehurst Drive is here, Point Pleasant's here, the subject property sits on the corner. The fence is going all the way to the front to be coincident with the front of the house. So I don't understand how that's kind of backyard. Let's see. Oh, and then, I talked with the homeowners association about, is there something that could be done that would mitigate the impact to us? And the concerns over what this means for our property value. And the thought was, well, there is planting that could be done that could soften this. Well, my response was kind of two-part to the association. What incentive does a homeowner have to do that? Because they won't be looking at that vegetation. I would. There's already trees covering it. What's going to grow there in a way that will meaningfully impact it? So I appreciate the opportunity to be heard. I do strenuously and respectfully object to the fence as proposed, and appreciate the opportunity to speak with you. Any questions you have for me? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Okay, we'll entertain a motion on this request.
Motion to approve variance request V 23-105 to allow 6-foot wooden fence in front yard on corner lot, land lot 624, located at 1741 Point Pleasant. Yasmin Youssef as applicant.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion passes. Item N is V 23-086, variance request V 23-086 to allow new construction on non-conforming lot of record on land lot 664 at 2627 Argo Drive, and this item has been requested to be tabled indefinitely. So we will entertain a motion to table this.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of tabling indefinitely, raise your right hand. Motion carries. Item O is V 23-087, variance request V 23-087 to reduce the side setback from 10 feet to 8.1 feet on land lot 664 at 2627 Argo Drive. This item has been requested to be tabled indefinitely. We will entertain a motion to do so.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of tabling indefinitely, raise your right hand. Motion carries. Variance request V 23-088 is item P, to reduce the street side setback from 23.3 feet to 4.2 feet on land lot 664, 2627 Argo Drive. Darrell Smith applicant, and this item is also being requested to be tabled indefinitely.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of tabling item indefinitely, raise your right hand. Motion carries. Variance request, item Q is variance request V 23-089 to reduce the front setback from 35 feet to 12 feet on land lot 664 at 2627 Argo Drive. Darrell Smith applicant. This item has also been requested to be tabled indefinitely.
So moved.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion carries to table indefinitely. Item R is a public hearing, variance request V 23-090 to reduce the minimum floor area from 2,000 square feet to 1,496 square feet at land lot 664 at 2627 Argo Drive, Darrell Smith, applicant. This item has also been requested to be tabled indefinitely. Do I hear a motion?
So moved, sir.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of tabling indefinitely, please raise your right hand. Motion carries. Item S is a variance request V 23-091 to increase the maximum impervious surface area on land lot 664 at 2627 Argo Drive, Darrell Smith, applicant. Again, this item has been requested to be tabled indefinitely. Do I hear a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to table indefinitely. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion is approved. Number 5 is approval of minutes. Item A is MIN 2024-002, approval of December 13th, 2023, license and variance board meeting minutes. Have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. Is there any other business or staff comment?
No, sir.
Hearing none, we will adjourn.